Natalia, proszę всіх заходити. Good morning. Please come through and find empty seats, which are a few. And we're going to start. So, my name is Roman and I'm president of the Ukrainian Medical Association. And welcome to our AGM. Just to remind you, this is, there were two parts to today. The first is AGM. It's our business meeting, if you like, where we're going to discuss our achievements, our failures, and our sort of future goals, as well as sort of technical elections, or re-elections, nominations, etc. But first issue that we need to address is to elect or nominate a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary of this meeting today. So, Dennis.
I have a proposal. I would like to be the vice chair. I'd like Dr. Sabrina to be the chair, and I'd like Dr. Sabrina Jr. to be the secretary.
So, did everybody follow? Dennis is vice chair, Dr. Sabrina is the chair of this meeting, AGM, and Natalia behind me is the secretary. Would anyone have any alternative suggestions or nominees or objections? In that case,
officially somebody should second it.
okay. Well, in that case, I would be delighted to second it, and we have quite a few people. So, in which case, can we proceed to vote? Can we vote in package, or do we need to do it person by person? In that case, we can do it in package. So, all those of you who would agree for this particular leadership of this meeting, could please raise your yellow cards. Brilliant. Thank you. So in that case, we've elected a chair, vice chair, and a secretary of this meeting today. And I will delightfully pass the microphone to Bogdan, who will lead this AGM from now.
Okay, thank you for, can everybody hear me? Okay, I'll move this along quite quickly today, this AGM, because we've got a conference ahead of us. But before we start the AGM, does every member have a sheet with the actual order agenda for today? Because I was going to ask if anybody wants to add anything to the agenda or change the agenda before we start. If not, before we start, today is November the 24th, and all over the world, Ukrainians actually commemorate the Umauk, which was a massive famine produced. Actually, scores of governments all around the world have actually recognized the Umauk as genocide of the Ukrainian nation. So, because today is the day, and I think we could all stand as doctors, because it's a humanitarian thing as well, with a moment of silence, just to do our part. Thank you. Okay, so we're up to the fourth point of our agenda. Are there any greetings from other organizations or individuals to our AGM? Or would anybody who'd like to verbally give a greeting from?
There's a greeting from CLAS, the Ukrainian Scout Organization, specifically from Irina Marchuk, who is the deputy head.
Thank you. Any others? Okay. So now, minutes from the previous AGM. Natalia was the secretary.
I'll just read through the minutes from the first AGM last year, Saturday the 5th of November. It was officially opened and introduced by the interim chairman at the time of the association, who was Dr. Denis Ugrin. Dr. Denis Ugrin formally opened the first annual general meeting of the Ukrainian Medical Association at 9:15. He gave a short introduction about the formation of Umauk from 2010 onwards. Up until the AGM, there had been 10 meetings with various members of the Ukrainian medical community that had got together by word of mouth. The meetings had started in 2010 with Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena, Dr. Denis Ugrin and Andrei Hunder, and later included many others. Dr. Denis Ugrin explained that the aims and objectives of this association included raising awareness of Ukraine and its healthcare system and promoting academic and professional links with Ukraine, providing help and support to its members in establishing and furthering their careers within the UK healthcare system. He also noted that Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena had encouraged the social aspect of the association and invited everyone to the drinks reception at the end of the day. He acknowledged many people's contributions to the association, including Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena and Dr. Roman Craig, as well as Andrei Hunder for the use of the Ukrainian Institute, as well as Galina Bogusrov, Roman Grushkevich and Mrs. Mundarak for the general organisation of the AGM and conference. Number 2, election of the presiding committee. Dr. Denis Ugrin proposed Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena as the chairman for the presiding committee, Dr. Roman Craig as the vice chairman, and Dr. Natalia Tsiprena as the secretary for the presiding committee. There were no other nominations for the presiding committee, and it was voted in unanimously. Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena read out the agenda of the AGM in Ukrainian and English. There were no changes or additions to the agenda. Greetings. Dr. Denis Ugrin read out a greeting from PLAS, the Ukrainian Scouting Movement. Dr. Natalia Tsiprena read out a greeting from the Association of Ukrainians in Great Britain. Vlastovetsky, the president, wished Umauk all the best and would wish to work with us closely in the future and would fully support us in our work. Mrs. Vida Pavlik spoke on behalf of the hospital-to-hospital programme in Ukraine. She cited Professor Henry Marsh as an example of what can be done with close collaboration and hoped that with small steps we can do more to improve the healthcare of Ukrainians. Dr. Ihor Matankovsky thanked Dr. Denis Ugrin for participating in workshops held in Ukraine. He looked forward to working closely together in the future. He also discussed that psychiatric medical training in Ukraine would like to work towards moving to an English method of treating child psychiatric problems. Andrei Hunder welcomed all delegates to the Ukrainian Institute, affiliated to the Ukrainian Catholic University. He discussed the vulnerable members of the Ukrainian community in the UK and is very pleased that Umauk will start taking a role in helping this section of society and also helping professionals from Ukraine and of Ukrainian origin. Director of Educational Medical Information in Kyiv hoped that the association would help Ukrainians in a humanitarian way and also help further medical education within Ukraine. Number 4, ratification of the Constitution and bylaws. The Constitution was drawn up by an action group headed by Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena with the following members: Dr. Roman Grushkevich, Dr. Roman Craig, Dr. Stalko Sepi, Andrei Hunder and Dr. Andrei Ilcheshin. This was a joint effort and it was based on the many meetings that were held in 2010-2011. Dr. Brian Jacobs, Article 13. It is not clear from the article whether the association is going to have charitable status. Also, he suggested that it should be mentioned that the Vice President should be able to sign cheques should the President not be able to. Article 14 and 15. The audit and arbitration committees should be completely independent from the executive committee, and this should be stated. In response to Article 13, Dr. Bogdan Tsiprena stated that we initially decided to currently have a societal status with a view to changing it to a charity in the future. Dr. Brian Jacobs, in that case, in Article 19, the wording should be changed to if there is any money left after covering all proper liabilities, that some shall be passed to a charitable organisation. Dr. Denis Ugrin would like to add to the executive committee a 3 members, so there would be a total of 6 people, reserved for a non-doctor member. Dr. Brian Jacobs, Article 12. It could be possible to change the term of office to 2 terms of 2 years, rather than 4 terms of 1 year, as it usually takes about a year to get confident within the role. Dr. Roman Clegg suggested that as we are in the teething process of creating a new organisation, we should leave it as it is now and review it at a later date when the association is more established. Amendments to Articles 13, 14 and 19 were voted in unanimously for the semantic changes. Article 12, proposition by Dr Jacobs, the term of office should be changed to 2 terms of 2 years, with half the committee resigning halfway through to allow a turnover of people. Voted 4-0 against 12, abstained 6. Article 12, proposition by Dr Tioplena, the aforementioned proposed change should be rediscussed at the AGM. 4-20 against 0, abstained 1. So something to add on to the agenda. Finally, the Constitution was adopted by the delegates. 421 voted. It was unanimous. Election of the Executive Committee. The President, Dr Roman Craig, was nominated by Dr Dennis Ugrin and seconded by Galina Zinchin. There were no other nominations. He was voted in unanimously. Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, Free Member, Student Member. They were Dr Dennis Ugrin, Ms Galina Bogusrov, Dr Natalia Tioplena, Ms Oля Trojan and Ms Julia Zinchin, respectively. They were all nominated by Dr Dennis Ugrin and seconded by Galina Zinchin and were all voted in unanimously. Election of the Audit Committee. Chairman Dr Bogdan Tioplena was nominated by Dr Dennis Ugrin and seconded by Galina Zinchin. He was voted in unanimously, as were the 2 members, Dr Brian Jacobs and Dr Galina Zinchin. Election of the Arbitration Committee. Chairman Dr Roman Gruszkiewicz was voted in unanimously, and so were Dr Lieres Smoduliak and Dr Stefan Tioplena as members. Address of the newly elected President. Dr Roman Craig congratulated Dennis Ugrin on his achievements and hard work up until this point. He stated that the theme of the next year should be, let's do some good and let's have a bit of fun. Dr Roman Craig, let's find out what the community here needs from us, and if we tick that box, we will validate our existence. It will then be a true association with a group of people with a vision of helping those in need. He finished by saying that he wanted to embrace the multidisciplinary flavour of the association in the British tradition and wanted it to include all healthcare professionals, and thanked everyone for their support. Recommendations and requests for future actions. Dr Milan Tioplena had held a literature review online to take a look at what research had been carried out in migrant populations, and there was very little available. The healthcare clinic which we plan to hold would provide very important data to this field of research in the Ukrainian community, which could then be possibly extrapolated to other patient groups. Dr Oksana Muteka was very pleased to be a delegate. She felt that as an organisation we should think about how we are going to let people know that we exist and get more people involved. Dr Brian Jacobs was interested in what the Ukrainian medical profession had to share with the UK. In the future we should look at working towards perhaps a biannual meeting with Ukrainian medical professionals to encourage the two-way traffic of ideas and learn from each other. Dr Bogdan Tioplena, we should pay attention to our students and always think about the future. It is a unique association as it includes all healthcare professionals, and we should reach out to younger students, people, and encourage them and help them into these professions. Number 10, Dr Roman Craig discussed the healthcare clinic, which had just got ethical approval from UCL. The aim of the study would be to find out the healthcare needs of our migrants and the Ukrainian community in London, and also how well they access healthcare services. There are stories of unregistered healthcare professionals exploiting the vulnerable. We would like in the long term to try to eradicate these practices and help our community. He requested people to volunteer to help the clinics and participate in the study. Number 11, close of proceedings. Dr Bogdan Tioplena officially closed the AGM at 10:30.
Thank you. Are there any additions to be made? Or sometimes very hard to remember what was said, but it seems it's quite comprehensive with the minutes. So,
I just wanted to congratulate and to thank Dr. Zefrina Julia for keeping excellent records of the meeting, which I think is reflecting in its entirety the proceeding.
okay. If there are no changes, we have to formally ratify this by voting. That this is a true record of what happened at our first AGM. All those for? Against? Abstain? Okay, so now we come to the interesting parts. It's the actual reports of the executive committee. So I would like to ask Dr. Roman Tech, the president, his report.
Thank you. Now, can everybody understand English? Can everybody? Would anybody like me to speak in Ukrainian, or I'd rather say it in Ukrainian, because otherwise the rest wouldn't understand. Чи хоче, якесь товариство хоче, щоб я по-українськи так само говорив? Хоче, так? Добре, буду. Отож, я візьму слайд по-англійський, слайд по-українськи, кажу паралельно. Dear colleagues, members, it's my pleasure to report to you after our first year Umauk UK, and just to give you an overview of what I'm going to mention briefly is I'll go through the background, we'll discuss our model, I'll remind you of our activities, achievements, failures and challenges. We'll reflect on the previous year, which is a good thing that psychiatrists tend to teach me to do, which I tend not to. But also it would be helpful if we could plan a future, a year at least, maybe further than that. Отож, мені приємно запрезентувати цю доповідь про наш перший рік існування. І я пройдуся по таким моментам, як згадаю трошки історію, розповім і нагадаю людям, або поясню людям про модель нашої організації, в декількох словах скажу про наші проекти, які ми зараз ведемо, і поговоримо про минуле і майбутнє організації. Отож, Богдан вже згадав про Голодомор, я не буду просити вас ще розставати, але безперечно, що ця подія і наша конференція співпала на один день, і тому під час цього дня, напевно, що деякі такі забавні речі, які були, можливо, на минулому році, цього разу не були з поваги до події, яка відбувалася в той ж день. So, Bogdan has already mentioned Holodomor, and perhaps some of the festivities that took part last year will not be as active as perhaps today, in order for us to acknowledge the fact that our conference coincided with such a tragic event. Well, it's not a day of the event, it's the day of the commemoration of the event, but unfortunately the event didn't last for a day. So, if we talk about English-Ukrainian link, then one has to remember clearly that English immigrated to Ukraine well before Ukrainians ever knew England existed. And I like this particular Ukrainization of the English name Hita Vesikska or Hita Haroldvina, who married our Volodymyr Monomach and produced many children, and quite a few royalty families certainly originates from that fruitful marriage, should I say. But Ukrainians back in 1066 didn't probably know that England ever existed before the arrival of Gita, daughter of Harold, who was killed obviously at the Battle of Hastings. And she clearly brought a few compatriots with her. Apparently the Anglo-Saxon community in Kiev and Rus counted for a few thousand people, including all the sort of servants and stuff, but also compatriots that decided to move for a variety of reasons, primarily being conquered. And I wondered how many doctors were there, and how would British Medical Association of Ukraine would sound in Old English. But I guess there's no written record, so we cannot mention or comment on that. Отож, історично склалося так, що англійці були в Україні набагато раніше, ніж українці попали в Україну, до Великої Британії, тому що в 1066 році, коли Гарольд програв війну з норманами і мусив втікати, то його, напевно, що вбили, але його родина переїхала до України, його донька одружилася з принцем Київської Русі Монмахом і з собою привезла понад 3000 своїх співвітчизників, які заснували, напевно, що якісь організації на Україні, але медичні асоціації вони не фінансували. На превеликий жаль. Отож, це історія, і впродовж кількох століть, напевно, що течія помінялася в інший напрямок, і ми щораз більше і більше наших співвітчизників залишаються і переїжджають до Великобританії. В 18 столітті перші ніби згадки, але саме цікаво, що першим українцем, зареєстрованим документально, був пан Коєцький, що походив з Бродів і зареєструвався він в 1897 році. Потім було декілька сімей, які приїхали в Манчестер, а після Світової війни другої, відповідно, що наша діаспора тут збільшилася в багато разів. So, as far as the documented evidence of Ukrainians moving to the UK, the first written record of anyone goes back to 1897. Mr. Koyetsky, who comes from Brody, near Lviv, was registered as an alien in South. And then in Manchester, up to 100 families settled prior to World War I, and after World War II there was a surge of immigration to the UK, and generation of quite a fruitful and productive diaspora. And then most recently, and I belong to this category of migrants perhaps, but quite a few of you here, is are migrants from the independent Ukraine, so relatively young professionals or semi-professionals who immigrated following the independence in 91, and this quote from the Ukrainian Institute in the UK clearly indicates this population, which I belong to as well. Отож, після незалежності України імміграція не припинилася, і щораз більше і більше, чи менше і більше це хвиля. Українці переїжджають до Великобританії на постійне переживання, на науку, на тимчасове проживання. Отож, Українська медична асоціація не є першою, це є версія 3.0, якщо ми беремо якісь таку стандартизацію. І що важливо, це перше вивчити, чому сталося так, що Umauk версії 1, 2 перестали існувати, і безперечно, що ми надіємося, що Umauk версії 4.0 не буде. So, it's certainly prudent for me to remind people that this is Umauk version 3.0. And it's important for us to learn why Umauk version 1 and 2 disintegrated, and I would certainly be very keen for Umauk version 4.0 never to exist. Whether it's a critical mass of individuals that comes and goes, whether it's the venue availability, which was limited in some extent to Umauk version 2.0, or there's a community, or it's a time commitment, or whatever, but we certainly have to really seriously think about it because it's a critical entity. We don't want Umauk version 4.0, and we don't want an inflation to progress further either. Отож, необхідно подумати, чому це третя версія, а не друга, а не перша, і безперечно, що для себе зрозуміти, що нам необхідно зробити як асоціації, щоб не йти в історію так само, як і перша і друга спроба. І поважні люди, які тут присутні, безперечно, що пам'ятають про попередні дії. So, in 2011 we had a wonderful event which was inaugural in our existence, and we were able to welcome a variety of representatives from Ukraine, the UK, and also America and Germany. And when we set our aims, we certainly reiterated the fact that we want to be a non-profit organization, and those are the points from A to F, which were written by me in the middle of the night, and they don't make much sense, so I would be grateful if I could rewrite them, or somebody could, from ingenious people, could help me do that, please. But in any case, that's what they are, and let's just go one by one and see what our achievements are today. So one of the aims was to provide a forum to promote the fellowship of Ukrainian healthcare professionals, and also to provide support to members and non-members in establishing and furthering their career within the UK healthcare. And we come up with a solution, or perhaps proposition at this stage, to conduct small conferences, stroke workshops, in order to first of all explain. It takes very little, and it's amazing how little people know about the process of validating a medical degree or nursing qualification here in the UK. And so the first one that took place in September the 29th was looking into specifically that. What does a doctor coming from abroad needs to do in order to progress from pretty much no registration to full registration with the GMC. Отож, першою такою важливою проблемою, з якою зіштовхуються українські лікарі, і не тільки українські, а багато інших лікарів в Великобританії, це можливість або незнання можливостей, які відкриті для них, щоб зареєструвати свій диплом і стати працювати лікарем. І перше, що ми запропонували цим людям, українцям і не українцям, це 29 вересня ми провели достатньо хороший, на мою думку, воркшоп, виходячи з цих фідбеків, які залишили учасники, якраз дивлячись на прості питання, тобто, що треба зробити, звідки почати, яка є допомога, звідки можна чекати допомогу, платні чи безплатні ресурси, які є для лікарів, і так само і для інших медсестер і фармацевтів, які хочуть перездати свою кваліфікацію тут у Велику Британію. And the pipeline is quite full of ideas, and I think for the next year we're going to have at least 2, maybe 3 workshops with a bit of luck. And we're hoping to also address a variety of different things. For instance, the one we're organizing, which is going to take place probably in January or February, will be alternative careers, career option available in the UK. Тож, наступний воркшоп, який ми пропонуємо, це є знову ж сконцентрований на цій самій групі людей. І пропозиції є, щоб їм дати зрозуміти, які є альтернативи медичній кар'єрі. Тобто, якщо з тої чи іншої причини лікар не перездає свої екзамени, то безперечно, що це не є кінець кар'єри в медицині. І and a few snapshots from the workshop indicate, first of all, the speakers, who did most of the organization as well, but also delegates who come from a variety of backgrounds and found this particular workshop helpful. І отож, ці слайди, напевно, що демонструють спікерів, так само, як і делегатів, які прийшли, які не тільки українці, але які знайшли для себе цей воркшоп допоміжним. І це є програма цієї вересневої зустрічі, яка, ви бачите самі, вона дивиться на достатньо прості і елементарні речі, які здаються, але дивно було, наскільки людей, багато людей мають маленькі поняття про сам процес реєстрації і перереєстрації. Also, I would like to welcome Sandra, Joe, and a variety of people who are not here from National Hospital of Neurology and Neurosurgery, and they certainly have contributed phenomenally to our exchange programs with the Ukrainians. And they range from a few weeks to a month placements at the University College London hospitals, and they also kindly promote nursing education, as well as they offered on this occasion hospital management attachment to Chief Medical Officer of Final Hospital in Kyiv. Отож, хочу подякувати Сандрі і Джо, які представляють тут Національний шпиталь з неврології і нейрохірургії, які займаються вже не перший рік цими клінічними обсерваційними атачментами, тобто приїжджають лікарі і медсестри з України і проводять деякий час, кілька тижнів до місяця на базі цього госпіталю і вивчають різні моменти, чи то медичної, чи охорони здоров'я, чи менеджменту госпіталю, чи якісь інші аспекти, які їх цікавлять. With regards to conferences, there are many, and perhaps the first one, branded part of the Umauk conferences, was the 4th British Ukrainian Symposium, which addressed issues, current issues of anesthetics and intensive care, which took place in Kyiv in October this year. Okay, so next aim would probably be, in no particular order, but to promote the association among the Ukrainian community. And as Bogdan and Natalia mentioned, we finished our first stage of the Ukrainian Medical Association Health Center project, which is a charity clinic, which enabled us to do two things. A, help people, migrant workers who are residing here, who have, for a variety of reasons, difficult or non-existent access to the NHS, but also collect some interesting epidemiological data, which Miron has kindly put together, analyzed, and will present later on today. Отож, наступний проект, про який я хочу згадати, про який вже згадували Богдан і Наталя, це є наша клініка, це доброчинний проект, який ми вдячні за базу в Українському католицькій церкві, і він проходив впродовж 7 місяців, і Мирон трошки пізніше поділиться нашими досягненнями, але в принципі було там дві частини. Перша частина – це поради, допомога нашим мігрантам, не тільки українцям, а приходили з інших країн люди, які з тих чи інших причин не мають доступу до медицини в NHS тут. А так само ми збирали цікаву епідеміологічні дані, які Мирон нам пізніше трошки розповість більше. І третє, такий, знову ж, два пункти докупи, але вони, напевно, що відображають в якоїсь мірі, це є приєднатися до інших організацій тут, в Великобританії і в Україні, для цього, щоб сприяти розвитку охорони здоров'я, освіті лікарів в Україні і також мінятися досвідом. І напевно, що ця конференція сьогодні якраз і звернеться на те, що ми достатньо гостра проблема, яка є зараз в Україні, це є реформи охорони здоров'я, про які наші колеги з України ми були дуже вдячні, коли розказали більше, і ми будемо мати можливість всі ці приєднатися до багатьох медичних працівників з України, які зацікавлені теж поділитися своїми враженнями про реформу і про прогрес. So perhaps those 2 points that I mentioned before are to do with today's event, and we will welcome some prominent speakers as well as a variety of Ukrainians who will plug in through the web network in order to participate, to hopefully contribute to the discussion. And it would be very interesting and helpful for us to learn how the process goes and what current sort of issues, difficulties, and success stories there are. And the final one, perhaps most relevant to me, is to raise the awareness of Ukraine, because I guess when you compare brand Ukraine and brand UK, you certainly recognize that they are quite different. And Ukrainians have never been really good at branding themselves. And if my UK can contribute humbly to that particular intention, it would be also, one would hope, beneficial to the Ukrainians at large here in the UK. Отож, так само брендинг займає, напевно, що одним з важливих, для мене, чи не найважливіший пункт в цьому переченні, тому що, на жаль, українці історично не вміють себе брендувати, і нам є багато чого навчитися від бренду UK, який достатньо відомий всім. Отож, on reflection, чи обдумавши, безперечно, що деякі речі нам вийшли добре, деякі речі могли вийти краще, деякі речі нам не виходять. Деякі речі можна було зробити краще, напевно, що мати менше анестезіологів і психіатрів в наших членах і більше плюток. Але безперечно, що можна і згодитися, що деякі речі нам виходять, і важливо, напевно, що подумати, чому вони виходять, і поширювати. So, I guess, on reflection, things that we've done well and things that we could do better, things that we've done well, I think, is evidence to all of you, and it would be good to know why it didn't happen, why we managed to succeed and complete some projects, and why some projects we don't manage to complete. But perhaps one thing stands out, that we could have less anesthetists and psychiatrists, and also more muscle, please. Який план на 2013? Отож, напевно, що найкраще це схарактеризувати фразою, що будемо робити більше того, що ми вже робили. І є цікаві ідеї і розв'язки на рахунок розвитку лідерів медичної галузі в Україні. І одне з речей, які ми обговорювали в Києві, це було запросити толкових, молодих, амбітних людей на якісь елективи тут в Великобританії, але вони мають бути не пов'язані з медициною. Тобто, якщо все, що ми потребуємо від кандидата, це написати про себе на А4 форматі все, що він чи вона хоче, і запропонувати якусь цікавий проект. Це може бути по історії середньовіччя, це може бути про космос, це може бути про будь-яку немедично пов'язану тематику, з якою ми постараємося посприяти. So, perhaps to summarize this list here, what I suggest we do in 2013 is to do more of the same. Develop things that we do well, reconsider things that do not go well. Okay, that's, well, it's good news and bad news. I'm glad I'm interrupted by Andrei Vasilenko, which means that our network is going to work. But equally, apologies for this. We'll just do something to... In any case, so more of the same. And what I propose we do is another project that could benefit those potential leaders of the medical profession back in Ukraine. And what we have in mind is the 3-year program which could be offered to ambitious young potential leaders of the medical specialty in the Ukraine. And the only thing they need to do is to write something about themselves on the A4 format paper and submit a proposal what they want to do in their elective time here in the UK. And one requirement that should be in place that it has nothing to do with medicine. So if they want to study history or they want to study aerospace engineering or something like that, then perhaps we can put them in touch with the right people so they can develop themselves holistically rather than medically. And among many other things, I guess, again, more of the same, and it's worth acknowledging why Umauk 3.0 exists, because of certainly a variety of people who contributed. Ukrainians did Andrew Hande, who will come here, Ukrainian embassy in London, who will also send their representatives, ambassadors home to open our conference, which is coming next, and also organizes faculty, speakers, and members. And Sitka Likariv is represented by Roxolana, who will be joining us in a few minutes as well. Отож, подякуємо тим людям, які спромоглися допомогти нам організувати Umauk версію 3.0. Це Український інститут, Ендрю Гандер, Посольство України, пан посол, який приєднається до нас скоро, і так само всіх організаторів, спікерів і членів Umauk, і так само Роксоляна, яка до нас приєднається через кілька хвилин по сітці лікарів. Дякую за увагу. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, do we have a secretary's report? No. Could I suggest that you just verbally say, because you've done an awful lot of work,
I like to work behind the scenes.
Скільки ми ті, які з тобою працювали, не знаємо, скільки ти роботи зробив, але
Я можу сказати,
Можна я?
веб-сайт, скільки листів, контактів і так далі. Emails, які.
Good morning. My name is Galina Bogushov. Very good with microphone. Yes, I've been secretary of Umauk this year, and I was responsible for sending emails and inform people, inform members, and we also have friends of Umauk, people who are non-members. But as Roman mentioned here, that people like from Embassy, Andrei Hunder, who is a director of this institute, and other people, they are very much supportive of our work, and they're always interested in what's going on in Umauk. So I've been sending emails to them as well, and to members, and if any problems with distributing emails, please come back to me and always say to me that you don't understand something or email didn't work, and so I'm always waiting for a response. I've also been responsible for the website, Umauk website. We don't have very complicated website, very sophisticated one, but we're trying to put information there, what we're doing, what our projects are, and again, any suggestions are welcome, and any help welcome too. Membership, I think you're going to talk about membership separately. But I think we have a good number of members at the moment, and we also encourage people to come back to us and with different propositions, with different projects. We're very welcome to help, and we're looking at the way we can help people to help our members to get more involved in work in Umauk, because obviously this organization is for you, and we're very much trying to do, like we're doing other projects, we're trying to do something for you. So please suggest how we can help you to feel that this organization is valuable and do some things for the members. Any questions to me as a secretary?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay. Can I'll try to speak Ukrainian. Дуже дуже важко зразу перейти на українську мову, але я спробую. Я була секретарем Української мистецької асоціації цей рік, і я надсилала всі наші новини по електронній почті. Але якщо у вас є якісь зауваження, будь ласка, звертайтеся до мене, якщо щось не доходить, якщо у вас є якісь питання, будь ласка, звертайтеся до мене, я завжди відповім і щось зроблю, якщо щось не працює. Також я відповідаю за нашу наш веб-сайт, електронну сторінку, так, нашої організації. І також, якщо у вас є якісь бажання, якщо у вас є якісь ідеї, будь ласка, звертайтеся до нас. Я думаю, що дуже багато ми зробили роботи в цьому році. Знаєте, здається, що вони мало, але видно, що багато, коли Роман почав розповідати. Але ми думаємо, що наступного року ми ще більше зробимо. Але ми дуже просимо вас, будь ласка, допомагайте, включайтеся, рекомендуйте і будемо це робити разом. Бо це робота для вас. Дякую.
Тепер приходимо до слідства книжка The Treasurer's Report, що є
Okay, you will have a copy of the accounts in your pack, because just reading numbers is going to be a bit confusing for everyone. But in essence, this is the Treasurer's report of Umauk for the beginning of the association from the 4th of October last year and up until the 31st of October 2012. Our current balance in the bank is £1,352.02. If you look on the other side, it breaks down where our income actually came from over the past year. So last year we collected membership fees of £960. We had a donation of £100, and the donation was in fact sponsorship from the MPS during one of our workshops. The workshops themselves brought in £440, so our total income was £1,500. Expenditure, we didn't have many expenses last year. In fact, it was very minimal. It was £147.98, of which £47 was the website and £100 was catering from last year's conference. I would imagine that this following year our expenses are going to be higher because we did actually achieve some grants prior to the association being created. So next year's Treasurer's report will look slightly different. But in essence, £1,500 total income minus £147.98. Expenditure leaves £1,352.02 in our bank account currently.
And now we come to the audit committee, the controlling committee, and I'll read out the report that I wrote. Я перекладу на українську мову. Audit committee report for the period 01/11/2011, 31/10/2012. The audit committee of the association was elected at the first AGM on the 5th of November 2011. Members of the committee were Dr. Bogdan Chapina, chairman, Dr. Brian Jacobs, and Dr. Helena Zinchin, members. During the course of the year, members of the committee attended many meetings of the association and took an active part in the life of the association. On the 18th of November 2012, Dr. Bogdan Chapina and Dr. Helena Zinchin performed a full audit of the association by checking all the financial records, bank statements, and accounts, as well as minutes of the executive committee meetings. All members of the association based their activities and work on the constitution and bylaws of the association that was adopted at the first AGM of the association. The executive committee held its meetings on a regular basis and invited various members of the association, as well as interested members of the general community, to these meetings. The atmosphere at these meetings was always friendly and very enthusiastic, and this helped the executive committee to move the association forward, as most of the decisions made were based on consensus. The secretariat, or including the secretary herself personally, did a good job of keeping a record of the meetings, as well as keeping all members informed about what was going on via emails and managing the association's website. The financial management of the association was good. Considering that the executive committee only had limited financial resources, it is remarkable how much it had accomplished by finding innovative ways to keep expenditures to a bare minimum. The bookkeeping by the treasurer, as well as the maintenance of everything relating to